What's up everyone, Nukin here and welcome back. This will be a quick little video on Galactic Bounties. This is a new kind of special event that requires the bounty hunters, and I'm going to talk a little bit about the event and some general advice on how to take it on and tackle it. And then we'll take a look at Boba Fett Lead and Bossk Lead beating the final tier of this event. So hopefully this video is informative and helpful. If it is, give it a thumbs up and let's get started talking about some galactic bounties. Okay, so let's get started talking about this event real quick. So there's a bunch of different tiers. It starts off at easy, then it goes up to moderate, and then there's tough and deadly in the last two tiers. So no matter which tier that you're playing, you want to use a good solid bounty hunter leader, and I think the best leader is going to be Bossk, followed by Boba Fett, followed by Dengar. And the first time this event came around, we didn't even have Bossk available to us, so that's interesting. Actually, Bossk makes this event extremely easy and you don't need him to be 7 stars, so that is a plus. Let's look at the rewards real fast. For the rewards, we have Paplu shards on the easy node here. Then you have Han Solo shards. I was actually surprised that they're giving away Han Solo so easily now. Then you have Rolo, Rebel Leia Officer Organa. Then after Rolo, we have IPD, Imperial Probe Droid, and then Wampa. I was also surprised that they were giving out Wampa shards. So I think these rewards are going to be rotated every so often as well, and it seems like they're going to be valuable rewards to have for a lot of players. You know, maybe not everyone, but for a lot of elder players, a lot of people probably already have a 7-star Han Solo and some of these Rolo and IPD characters, or they're almost there. So that's interesting that they are rewards. Not everyone has a 7-star Wampa, so that's pretty cool. But the difficulty of this event is so difficult that by the time you might have a strong enough bounty hunter team, you could potentially farm a Wampa, ironically. So we're going to jump right into the gameplay. This is a Boba Fett led bounty hunter squad on the deadly tier. I wanted to showcase being able to beat it without Bossk even on the team. It is definitely possible. Now, I think Bossk would actually make this team better, and if you were going to put him on the team, you would put him in Cad Bane's position, because Cad Bane did not receive any sort of rework or payout ability. Now, with both leaderships, you want to kind of complete the contract as soon as possible, and you want to basically go through the tiers without taking substantial amounts of damage. If one of your characters ends up dying, of course you're going to want to retreat. You want to hit the last final encounter wave with all of your characters alive. Potentially, you want them to be healthy as well, and you want their cooldowns to be ready to be able to use their abilities. So we accomplish that by using a bunch of basic attacks in the third wave, so we can start off the final encounter with most of our specials available for use. We're just stun locking Wampa and then ability blocking him. The whole goal is to basically keep him stun locked for as long as possible and make sure that he doesn't use his protection generating ability, his first special, that big Wampa AoE smash. And so by basically stun locking him and ability blocking him, he never gets to basically do anything. He does end up killing Cad Bane here, but that was probably just a little bit of sloppy play. You can use Bossk where Cad Bane is, by the way. He also has a stunning ability. So we're going to now jump into the Bossk leadership, which I think I might have even been able to auto, but I was too cautious to even try. And since we've already seen the first few waves, I want to go back and talk about some advice of what I think a sort of normal free-to-play player should take in basically in a world where galactic bounties exist in Galaxy of Heroes. So bounty hunters, you definitely want them strong enough to be able to complete the highest level of credit heist. Being able to sim that is awesome. That was a nice quality of life feature. Now, I wouldn't say that any of these sort of bounty rewards currently are a necessity to be a good player in this game. Definitely not Paplu, that's not really worth it. Han Solo, you will just get by consistently participating in the Rancor raid. Rolo and Imperial Probe Droid you'll get eventually from just participating in territory battles. The best reward is a Wampa, but you can also just kind of grind that free to play, so I wouldn't like panic farm the bounty hunters. There's not a rush to be able to complete the final tiers of this Galactic Bounty event currently. Now that might change if they rotate the rewards to something else, but I don't foresee them really putting marquee event type of characters as rewards, but who knows what happens. Okay, so now let's talk about the final encounter with Bossk leadership. Now in this battle, Wampa actually did his big AoE smash attack, and Bossk leadership is so good that even though he did that, you're able to really sort of easily beat this mission. And so if you're going to have some difficulty trying to complete this event, one of the tips that I have for you is to basically just retreat out until you can enter the final encounter with one of your characters that can stun lock or ability block right away. That's basically sort of like an RNG related element. And so if you actually go back and replay it, you will end up eventually entering the final encounter with a character that can basically start the stun locking process. Now Bossk leadership is so good though that even though that happened and he gained all that protection, there is so much sort of like defense from Bosk's leadership because you have 100% defense on your bounty hunters if they're at full HP, and since you're not really losing much protection since he's basically stun locked, whenever he attacks it's going to have a lot of damage mitigation. So same sort of strategy here, just kind of stun lock him, ability block him, and you'll be able to take out Wampa fairly easily. So that wraps up the deadly tier. I'm also going to showcase some boss gameplay in the second to last tier, which is, I think they call it the tough tier. Now what's interesting here is that this is a completely different battle. You're facing some Empire, you're not facing Rebel scum, and so it's going to play a little bit differently, but there are a lot of similarities. You want to, of course, try to complete your contract for whatever bounty hunter leader that you're using. Now keep in mind that Bossk leadership is still superior in all the tiers, so if you have a Bossk, even if he's not 7-star, this event will potentially be easier for you if you use a Bossk leadership. Now I was able to also beat this on my main account with a Dengar lead and a Boba Fett leadership. I was a little disappointed with Dengar lead. I've been really trying to get him to be effective in some regard, and I believe the only way I can foresee him being effective in the near future of this game is if Zam Wessel immediately gets reworked as well and gets some sort of synergy with Dengar or something. Other than that, I don't really see Dengar lead being effective anywhere. So still, Boba Fett is a great bounty hunter leader, and Bossk now just brought it to a whole new level in my opinion. So going back to the battle here. Now going back to the gameplay, the first few waves aren't super important, but it starts to get hard on the third wave here. You're facing 3 death troopers, and keep in mind that when one of your characters dies, which you never really want any of your characters to die, but if one of them ends up dying, they're going to have the capability of applying death mark on your characters, and then it just kind of goes downhill from there. So potentially this might be one of the hardest actual waves of this entire mission for you, since there's 3 death troopers and I believe there's far fewer in the final tier. I guess we're both going to be surprised together in just a second. So we're taking out all the death troopers and we save Shore Trooper for last. We're going to take him out and then we're going to see what's behind the curtain for the final encounter wave of the second to hardest difficulty, the tough tier. Yeah, just 1 single death trooper, I believe, in the corner there. So less death troopers means less death marks, but still a dangerous sort of encounter for sure. Some tips that I have for this encounter is to be wary of the death trooper for sure, for the same reason, because of the death mark, and for the Imperial probe droid. Now the Imperial probe droid will not explode on one of your characters if he has still full HP, so don't try and take out the Imperial probe droid until you're ready to kill him, or you're very positive that you can keep him ability blocked or stunned. So that's one of my suggestions. I like to go for the Death Trooper first. I feel much safer with him out of the picture. I then go for the Imperial Officer and then the Recon Stormtrooper. Now, the ordering here in the middle probably doesn't make a huge sort of impact in the outcome of the battle. You could probably go for either one. And then you're down to the Imperial Probe Droid and Shore Trooper. If you get down to sort of a situation like this where you're dominating the battle so much, you could probably let the Imperial Probe Droid just explode on you and you'd be okay. 4 bounty hunters are not going to have any difficulty taking out a Shore Trooper. I'm actually not sure if the Probe Droid ends up exploding or not. I feel like the Imperial Probe Droid isn't even coded to do so because it had the opportunity and it didn't. And with that, that kind of wraps up this quickie video all about Galactic Bounties. Hopefully it was helpful to you all. I'll see you all in my next video. Cheers.